This question is kind of funny. It says, what's your ideal guy? Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Maddie. Welcome back to my channel. I have missed saying that. I did a little bit of a break from posting videos on this channel. To make a long story short, somebody was trying to impersonate me on Instagram and they made like a fake profile. Really freaked me out. It was a really scary moment for me, and so I kind of like crawled back into myself and was giving myself some time to heal. And yeah, I felt like today would be a great video to get back on it, start making videos again. I think that I took like 2 weeks to like a week and a half off, so not a super long break, but I just wanted to get my mental health back in a ready place and kind of remember why I make videos in the first place and why I enjoy what I do. And that's because of you guys and because of the people who do support me, and not because of any scary, creepy person trying to be me, which they'll never be able to be me. And I wanted to get back on by doing a video that's really fun, relaxing, chatty, happy, good vibes, good mood video. And what's more happy and fun than a Q&A? At least it's fun for me. I enjoy doing Q&As because it gives me the opportunity to kind of respond to you guys, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So I asked you guys on my Instagram, like I always do whenever I want you guys to ask me questions or whenever I try to interact with you guys about my YouTube. I think that's such an awesome tool to have. But I asked you guys on my Instagram to send me questions, and I literally just posted it like, let's see, I posted the post like 11 minutes ago, so I'm just letting the questions flow in. And as usual, as I always preface my Q&A, some of these questions are going to be about Liberty because I do go to Liberty. I'm going to be going into my sophomore year next year. I absolutely love it. A lot of the videos on my channel are about Liberty because I'm super passionate about my college. I think it's a super, super special place, and I've learned so much about the Lord. That's another topic of question that I might be asked because I usually get questions about my faith. I love the Lord. I'm a Christian. And I'm not afraid to talk about that and let my voice be heard. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to actually start answering the questions. Sorry for the long intro, I suck. The first question says, favorite book recommendations. So my favorite book of all time is actually on my dresser right here. This is kind of like a decorative version. This isn't the version that I read, but it is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It's a classic. It is a love story and it is so good. It's definitely a harder read. It's not very easy to comprehend just because they use really big words. I read this for the first time when I was in 4th or 5th grade because my mom showed me the movie, the newer version, not the older version. I don't know if I've even ever seen the older version, but let me know if it's good. But my mom showed me the newer version, the one with Keira Knightley, and I'm obsessed with her. And it was just so good. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to read the book. And I struggled my way through the book. And then I read it again like later on in life when I was older and could kind of understand the words. But it is a great story, great book, great movie, highly recommend. I really like this question. I think that this is a great one. It says, what's the biggest thing you've learned in 2020? I'll definitely make a video about like things I learned in 2020 once it turns to 2021. But I think it's just to stay true to yourself, and there is always going to be people that don't like you. I feel like that's something that I don't always want to remember and don't always want to recognize, because I want to believe that there are good people in the world, which there are, but it's really easy to live in this fairy tale and be like, oh, I'm just like living in the love of the Lord, which I am, but I don't want to forget the fact that there is evil in this world. And I also don't want to forget the fact that we're in constant battle, like good against evil, like we're fighting for the light against the darkness, and there is darkness in this world. So I think it's just kind of been a year for me where I'm realizing that there is bad people in this world. Although I knew that, I think just like coming to terms with that as I get older and as I approach my 20th birthday, that's just something that I've been learning. And I think that it is our job as Christians to usher in the light and to be light, and we always have to be kind, treat people with kindness even if they don't return that back. And yeah, that's my little spiel on something that I've learned so far this year. This question says, how do you balance life in Jesus? That is a very broad question. I would say that ideally it's not supposed to be a balance because Jesus is supposed to direct your life. And I would say the best way to allow that to happen is to pray for that to happen. Be like, Lord, take captive of my thoughts, take captive of my heart, be my #1 motivator for everything that I say and do. And then he becomes the root of your life, over time and as you get into your word and as you read your Bible. And yeah, it's obviously not an overnight process, but I would say if you go into it with the mindset of like, how do I balance it, then it's more difficult. It's easier if you say, Lord, like be my center, if that makes sense. This question says, what is your tattoo? I love it. My tattoo says, as he promised. It is from Deuteronomy 26:19. And then I also have one on my rib. It's kind of like this similar font in size as this one. And it just says, still I rise. And it is from a Maya Angelou poem. This is an easy one. It says, what are you most looking forward to about going back to Liberty? Seeing my friends. I had the opportunity to see two of my roommates for next year, Liz and Maddie, recently, and it was so good to see them and hang out with them and spend time with them. And I'm just feeling so blessed that the Lord has given me those people in my life. I'm just so excited to be reunited with my friends and finally hug them. That's gonna be amazing. This question is kind of funny. It says, what's your ideal guy? In the past, you would have heard me say dark curly hair, blue eyes or brown eyes, and yeah, that would have been what I would have said. But not to get spiritual, even though I'm going to get spiritual, I listened to this sermon recently and it was kind of like the revamped version of this series that Mike Todd did a long time ago about like relationship goals. If you're familiar with him, you've probably heard of this. That sermon series went viral. But yeah, it looks as though he's been doing a revamped version, so it's like kind of the same things but like going back and like talking more in depth about it and putting in some new ideas. It's really good. And so I listened to this sermon recently and it was talking about how we make these lists in our brain about all these things that we want in either a job or a spouse or our lives, like whether that be like our bucket list. Like that idea is not inherently wrong, but the Lord's plan for us is ultimately always going to be greater than anything that I could ever make up a list of. So it's just been really like revolutionary for me, like learning that and hearing that. And yeah, in the past I would have said a list of like physical things that I want in a guy or I'm praying for in a guy, but I would say now I'm just kind of like giving it up to the Lord and being like, Lord, you know what's best for me. You know if I'm going to get married, if I'm not going to get married. You know if I'm going to have a boyfriend in the near future or not have a boyfriend. It's all up to you. It's all according to your plan, and I'm going to put down my list of expectations and things that I'm placing on you and realize that your plan is always going to be greater. So yeah, that's kind of a long-winded answer to that question, but I would say that I don't really have an ideal guy, just somebody who loves the Lord. Question says, what is the best thing about Liberty and what is the worst? So I would say the best thing is the fact that I get to be around like-minded people. The people are literally amazing. If you ask pretty much anyone what their favorite thing about Liberty is, they're probably going to say the people. It's literally the response I hear the most often when I'm talking to my friends about it. But yeah, people are amazing. I also think it's so cool that we're able to worship the same God in the same university. There's freedom in that and there's so much joy in that. But I would say that the worst thing that I've experienced, I've talked about this a few times on my Instagram and I've also talked about this in previous videos, but it's that sometimes I feel as though there is like spiritual competition as to who is growing closer to the Lord or thriving in the Lord fastest, and a part of that is in my head and a part of it is my fault because I'm giving into it and giving it leeway to take a hold of my mind and my heart and be like, why am I not doing as well as them, and just giving me anxiety that I shouldn't be feeling in the first place. But another part of it just comes from a Christian environment where you have a bunch of Christians all together. You're gonna see naturally some competition. You're gonna see some people posting all their victories and not posting any of their failures because that's just typical. Like, you're going to see that. It's not necessarily anybody's fault, but it is something that I have experienced. It's just kind of that feeling of being like, am I doing well enough? Because all of these people seem like they're doing really well. This question says, do you think it's important to go to a Christian college? I think it really just depends on who you are. I would definitely not say that everybody or every Christian has to go to a Christian college. I would never put that out into the universe and say that ever. I think that for me, it was necessary because I did want to major in something that had to do with the Bible. So for those of you who don't know, I'm majoring in global studies, which is essentially like I want to go into missions and be a missionary overseas. So that's my major. So it made sense for me to go to a Christian school for that. But however, like, I do believe that you can be a Christian and go to other schools that aren't Christian universities, and I'm sure you can grow in so many different facets at those schools as well. I know there's so many Christian organizations. There's like Young Life, Crew. I'm trying to think of the other ones. I'm not super familiar with like other organizations, but yeah, you can definitely go to a non-Christian school and still be a Christian and still thrive. I think there's just so many different pros and cons, and it just depends on what you want to do with your life. This question says, are you able to change dorms for the second semester? I'm not 1000% sure. I know you can definitely like change rooms if you have like roommate issues. I don't know the full extent of that, but most people stay in the same dorm for the whole year. Question says, does Commons 3 have dorm pride, and do they have mixed common areas? Yes. Okay, so if you're familiar with Liberty University, Commons 3 is better known as the shoe because it's in the shape of a horseshoe. They definitely have pride for their building, and it's a huge, huge thing. Everybody's like, I literally can't do it. The shoe. Hold on one second. Hey.
Hi.
I'm filming a video. What's the symbol that people do for the shoe? Can you do it? I was doing that. I don't know why I was doing that. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed. Bye. And for the common areas in the shoe, it's a little bit different than Commons 1 and 2. So basically, the guy side has a common room and then the girl side has a common room because you're on separate sides of the building, and then it like meets in the middle like a horseshoe. And so you can go into the guy's common area and vice versa, but they're not like mixed. Like you're not going to have like one common room for both of y'all, but you can go into each other's. This question says, how do you feel about the Black Lives Matter movement? I love this question. I believe that the Lord created us all beautifully, wonderfully, exactly how we're supposed to be created. And I believe that racism is a sin because we live in a fallen world. Christ designed us all equally, and my prayer right now is that the Lord breaks our hearts for what breaks his. And this is horrible, and it's a horrible thing that's happening to our nation right now. And I fully believe that in heaven we're all going to be together. I believe that God created us to live in harmony with each other and love each other despite our differences and to celebrate our differences. I think that differences are so beautiful. So yes, I do support the movement, and I believe that we all need to be standing up and using our voices that we have, but I also believe that we should try to learn from each other and discuss with each other and talk to each other. And yeah, I think that this is a great learning experience for me as a white person to be able to experience this and live through this. And I'm super excited for all that I'm learning and all that my fellow white friends are learning. I think that this is going to be awesome, but I think we should love each other through this learning experience, if that makes sense. Jesus loves everyone, and I love everyone. This question says, what was the hardest/best part about college? So as I'm going into my sophomore year, the hardest thing is definitely something that I've mentioned a bunch on this channel, is comparison and self-esteem in college, going from a small pond to a big pond. In my experience, I went to a small Christian school for high school, like junior kindergarten through high school, and then in college I'm going to this huge Christian college. It's literally massive, and just seeing all these people who look like they're thriving and just comparing my journey to theirs, comparing their highlight reel to my like constant fail reel, if that makes sense, which is not true, but it's the way that I sometimes view myself. Comparison was definitely a common theme for my freshman year, but I would say the best part about college so far is my friends and the amazing spiritual growth that I have been able to have in the past year. This question says, do you think you will adopt/foster? Definitely. I have always dreamt of adopting 3 kids and then having 3 kids of my own. Obviously that will change. The Lord has the perfect plan for me, so I never know what's going to happen, but for now that is definitely my dream. I would love to adopt. This question says, how did you know God has called you into missions, and can God speak to you at a young age? God can speak to you at literally any age. I don't think that there is a limit on the age that God can speak to you at, but definitely go watch my testimony video. I talked way more in depth about that, and I have a way better explanation of that question in that video. I'll have it linked down below. This question says, do you have any tips for transfer students? Yes. Okay, so literally so many of my friends are transfer students. It's completely normal at Liberty to transfer, and honestly, like every college, it's pretty normal to transfer. I feel like a lot of people do, and it's not a really rare thing. But at Liberty, my biggest tip for transfers is if you can live in Commons, that would be great. You can definitely find community in other buildings. You're not limited to only Commons, but that would definitely be my #1 recommendation, only because there's so many students on the halls and there's a common room and you can just meet people Super nice place to live your freshman year. Go to as many events as possible, especially during like welcome week or like the first few weeks of school. Go to like worship nights. Try to talk to people on your hall, meet people on your hall, go up to random people in the rot, tell them you like their clothes. I don't know, I feel like compliments are a really good way to like start a conversation with people and to make friends. That's how I've made so many of my friends, whether they complimented me or vice versa. Yeah, I feel like just being outgoing, even if it's not your thing. This question says favorite places to eat at Liberty. Okay, definitely, okay, this one is my favorite, so don't judge me because a lot of people don't like this place. Star Ginger, it's an Asian place. I always get orange chicken. There's also Garbanzo, that's kind of like a Greek Mediterranean place. There's like rice and chicken, it's very good. The Rot is very slept on. It is like our school cafeteria, very good. Also, obviously Chick-fil-A. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Fresh Market, that is at North. It's really, really good, and obviously Starbucks. This question says if you could travel anywhere, where would you go and why? And my friend Owen asked this. I love you, Owen. Definitely the Philippines. I want to go to the Philippines so bad. I just have literally always wanted to go there, and I feel like it would be a great place to visit and do missions work and spread the love of the Lord. I don't know, I feel a calling there, and I think that that is definitely something that could happen in the future, maybe in a few years. But yeah, I definitely want to go there at some point. Question says, is it easy to get a work study job? This question says, is it easy to get a work study job at LU? Yes. Work study is huge. It's so easy to get a work study job. Once you get on campus, you can ask your RA or any other people on your hall how to log in and do it. I've never personally done it. I definitely need a job at some point, so I'm right there with you, but it's definitely really easy, and I know a ton of people who have work study jobs. This is the last question that I'm going to answer, but it says, what is your go-to coffee order? I really like iced vanilla lattes. I also really like iced caramel macchiatos, both of those from Starbucks for sure, but also I like get those at other coffee places as well. I'm definitely more of a Starbucks fan than a Dunkin' fan. Don't cancel me. I just like, it's just my experience, and I think that Dunkin' coffee can be a little sweet sometimes. I also really like Starbucks's iced caramel cloud macchiato. My friend Claire got me on that, and it's literally so good. I also really like mango dragon fruit refreshers. That is another good one. Without lemonade though, I don't like it with lemonade. But yeah, those are all the questions that I had time for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm really excited to get back into making videos and get back on my groove and realize that this is my platform and I have a responsibility to use it, and I'm going to continue to try to shine Christ's love through my channel and to you guys and let you guys know how loved you are, how special you are, and how God has created you guys all in his image, and that's just such a beautiful, wonderful, amazing thing. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow me on my social medias. They're always in the description box down below. Turn my post notifications on if you want to get a little cute little notification whenever I post a new video. But yeah, I will see you guys very soon with another new video. Bye!